the spare and the heir. My brother being the heir and me being the spare. And so I think it was just a really good opportunity to choose a title that had been somewhat used against me.
January 2026. The photographs nobody dared discuss openly for nearly a decade suddenly exploded across every corner of the internet. Not gradually, not quietly, but with the force of a truth that's been buried too long, finally breaking through concrete. Meghan Markle and Marcus Anderson, side by side, again and again and again. Soho House events in London, Paris Fashion Week runways, even Disneyland family trips with her children. And in every single image, one undeniable pattern emerges that nobody can explain away. The same man is always right there, not lingering in the background like a casual acquaintance, not off to the side where friends typically stand, right next to her, every single time. Who is Marcus Anderson? That's the question millions are finally asking out loud. And the answer should terrify anyone who cares about what really happened to Prince Harry. Marcus Anderson isn't just some random friend from Meghan's past. This is the man who controls access to the most exclusive private clubs on the planet, the gatekeeper, the fixer, the person who decides which celebrities, billionaires, and power players get to enter rooms where deals worth hundreds of millions are made over cocktails, where careers are launched or destroyed with a single introduction. And wherever Meghan goes, Marcus Anderson appears like clockwork. Now people are finally asking the question nobody wanted to touch before. What exactly is the connection between Meghan Markle and the man who introduced her to Prince Harry? And why? After all these years, after the royal wedding, after leaving royal life, after building a new existence in California, why is Marcus Anderson still so deeply embedded in Meghan's world? The pattern that nobody can explain. Here's the detail that makes everyone pause when they really think about it. Meghan has never been photographed alone at Soho House. Read that again. Not once. Not ever. Not in all the years she spent there networking, attending parties, building the connections that would transform her life. Every single photograph shows Marcus Anderson right by her side. Zero exceptions. Think about what that means. This is the same man who helps decide membership approvals for one of the world's most exclusive club networks. The same man who reportedly arranged her first private meeting with Prince Harry.
To do some form of therapy, or at least be able to talk more about.
The same man who appears at her baby shower in New York, at her royal wedding, at intimate family trips to theme parks with her children. Does any of that sound like normal friendship behavior to you? Royal commentator Queenie captured the strangeness perfectly. It's downright bizarre that a man, gay or straight, constantly clings to a family like Marcus Anderson does with Harry, Meghan, and their kids. He's like a parasite, always lurking in their shadow. Strong words? Perhaps. But look at the evidence mounting in front of us. Look at the timeline. Look at the proximity. Look at the access. These photographs don't exist in a vacuum. They tell a story whether people want to hear it or not. Meghan always claimed she wanted privacy, remember?
And I think a lot of that gets lost in what can be super dehumanizing when you look at the clickbait culture. And
she left royal life citing invasive media scrutiny and the inability to live a normal existence. Yet what these images actually reveal is something entirely different. Access, ambition, and a connection that raises serious red flags for anyone paying genuine attention. This isn't about romance rumors. This isn't about jealousy or gossip. This is about proximity to power. And in elite circles, proximity to power is everything. Inside the world's most exclusive network. Let's break down what Soho House actually represents, because most people don't truly understand the magnitude of what we're dealing with here. Soho House isn't just another exclusive club where wealthy people gather to drink expensive wine. It's one of the most carefully curated private member networks in the entire world, with locations spanning London, New York, Toronto, Los Angeles, Mumbai, and beyond. You can't just pay a membership fee and walk through those doors. It doesn't work that way. You need sponsorship from an existing member. You need approval from the membership committee. And most importantly, you need someone powerful backing your application. someone willing to stake their reputation on bringing you into this network. For countless celebrities, models, and aspiring influencers over the past decade, that someone has been Marcus Anderson. He currently serves as the Global Membership Director.
Certainly after the pandemic and everything else, we crave that. We crave being able to go high and like...
But that corporate title barely scratches the surface of what he actually does. Marcus didn't start at the top of this pyramid either. He worked his way up from waiting tables at Soho House, Toronto, to becoming the right-hand man of Nick Jones, the billionaire founder of the entire empire. Marcus became the person who builds guest lists for elite celebrity parties where careers are made. The person who decides which actors, models, tech entrepreneurs, and wealthy insiders get access to those private rooms where the real networking happens, away from cameras, away from scrutiny, away from the public eye. Nick Jones founded Soho House in 1995 and methodically transformed it into a global empire now worth billions. And he's been crystal clear about his membership philosophy from the beginning. Jones stated publicly, "We try not to give membership to people who would fuel paparazzi or bring press." That wasn't just marketing talk. That rule was enforced ruthlessly. Kim Kardashian? Application rejected. Kobe Bryant? Turned away. Global superstars with massive fame and enormous wealth were told no because they brought too much media attention, too much public scrutiny.
The day in '93 was when I got the phone call from the landlord to say, "Would you want to take the space?"
Soho House prided itself on discretion, on creating exclusive spaces where the truly powerful could operate completely away from cameras. So here's the question that nobody has satisfactorily answered. How does Meghan Markle, a cable television actress on Suits earning a reported $50,000 per episode, gain access to Soho House locations worldwide? How does she become a regular fixture at multiple locations when bigger, wealthier, more famous names were systematically shut out? There's one explanation people keep returning to, one name that makes everything suddenly make sense: Marcus Anderson, the woman who shouldn't have had access. Think carefully about where Meghan actually was in her career trajectory before Marcus entered her life. She was a working actress on a moderately successful cable drama. Suits had a dedicated audience, sure, but it wasn't Game of Thrones. It wasn't making Meghan wealthy. It wasn't making her internationally famous. It certainly wasn't opening doors to private rooms filled with billionaire investors and British royalty. Yet somehow, this working actress from Los Angeles became extraordinarily close with the one man who could open literally every door that mattered in global elite social circles. Was that luck? Was that coincidence? Or was that something else entirely? According to a revealing anecdote from Lady Colin Campbell's book, Meghan attended an early royal garden party after becoming involved with Harry.
There's a spare in the air, my brother being the heir and me being the spare, and so...
After about 15 minutes of talking to guests and appearing charming, Meghan reportedly turned to Harry and said, quote, "Harry, this is really boring." That comment reveals something crucial about Meghan's actual mindset. Royal tradition, royal protocol, the very institution Harry was born into, none of it genuinely interested her. What interested Meghan was access to power, access to influence, access to the networks that could permanently elevate her status and transform her life. And Marcus Anderson provided exactly that access. This wasn't random chance. This was calculated, because access to rooms filled with wealthy, powerful, connected people can change someone's entire life trajectory overnight. And it changed Meghan's life, dramatically, permanently. But here's the question nobody wants to ask directly. At what cost? The photographs that tell the real story. Let's examine the photographic evidence itself, because these aren't ambiguous images that could be interpreted multiple ways. These aren't stiff red carpet shots where everyone maintains professional distance for the cameras. These aren't casual group pictures at parties with a dozen people crowded together. These images show a level of physical closeness and emotional intimacy that makes people instinctively pause and question what they're witnessing. December 2014. Meghan and Marcus at a Soho House event. She's holding a large glass of red wine, her arm wrapped completely around his back in a possessive embrace. Marcus is leaning in close, so close their faces are nearly touching. The body language radiates intimacy. It's the exact kind of positioning that gets people talking and keeps the questions flowing. June 2016. Just one single month before Meghan supposedly meets Harry on that famous blind date everyone's heard about, Toronto Gala, Marcus wearing a sharp blue tuxedo.
I think you feel really confident that it was divinely ordered. Maybe all of this, our friendship, you becoming our...
Meghan in a form-fitting little black dress, his arm firmly positioned around her waist. The photograph has an undeniably flirtatious energy that's impossible to miss. 1 month before meeting her future husband, Meghan appears extremely comfortable, extremely close, extremely familiar with Marcus Anderson. What does that timeline tell you? Fast forward to September 2017, the Invictus Games in Toronto. Meghan is sitting directly next to Marcus in the arena seats, their knees visibly brushing against each other. Harry is there too, of course, sitting nearby. But the snapshot captures something uncomfortable, something revealing. Meghan is gazing at Marcus with a huge, genuine, unguarded smile. Meanwhile, Harry looks distinctly uncomfortable, staring off into the distance, his expression completely detached. What was going through Prince Harry's mind in that exact moment? What doubts were already beginning to form? October 2025. Paris Fashion Week. This is the photograph that recently went absolutely viral across social media platforms. Meghan and Marcus are walking through the streets of Paris and they're holding hands, not linking arms the way platonic friends might do for support or navigation, but actually holding hands like a couple would do casually, intimately, naturally. Social media absolutely erupted. Does no one else find this extremely strange? One comment with thousands of likes demanded
40 friends to donate 40 minutes of their time to help mentor a woman who's mobilizing back into the workforce.
Another asked, if they're just friends, why this level of physical intimacy? The questions multiplied exponentially because people's instincts were screaming that something about this relationship doesn't add up to a normal friendship. June 2025. A Disneyland family trip celebrating Lilibet's 4th birthday. Meghan posts photos on Instagram showing the family enjoying the theme park. And guess who appears in those family photographs? Marcus Anderson. Right there, with Meghan, Harry, and their young children at what should be an intimate family moment. But here's the truly bizarre detail. Meghan actually used a heart emoji to digitally cover Marcus's face in her public Instagram post. If he's genuinely just a friend, an innocent platonic companion, why actively hide his identity? Why go to the effort of obscuring his face if there's absolutely nothing questionable about his presence? The behavior itself fuels suspicion. The attempted concealment raises more questions than it answers. The rule that changes everything. Here's what most people don't know about Soho House membership policies. According to club rules, guests must remain by the members' side during their entire visit to any Soho House location. They cannot wander freely. They cannot access facilities independently. They must stay with the member who brought them as a guest. This means something crucial. Meghan wasn't a Soho House member herself. She was Marcus Anderson's guest every single time. That's why she's never photographed alone there. She literally couldn't be there without Marcus. The rules wouldn't permit it. He wasn't just accompanying her as a friend. He was facilitating her access. He was the key that unlocked those doors. Think about the dynamic that creates.
Because it feels really inclusive and there's representation and it's just like a sweet love story.
Every opportunity Meghan had inside those walls, every connection she made, every wealthy person she networked with, every career-changing introduction, all of it flowed through Marcus Anderson. All of it required his approval, his sponsorship, his continued support. What kind of relationship does that create? What kind of obligations does that generate? Nick Jones stepped down as Soho House CEO in November 2022 following a prostate cancer diagnosis, but he remained deeply involved in creative and membership decisions. He knows everything that happens in his clubs, every party, every private room arrangement, every facilitated introduction, every strategic connection made behind closed doors. According to insiders who've worked within the Soho House network, these aren't just clubs. They're sophisticated networking machines, meticulously designed to connect ambitious people with established wealth and influence. Major business deals happen there, romantic relationships form there, career-transforming connections get made there, all of it occurring away from cameras, away from public scrutiny, in environments carefully constructed to facilitate exactly these kinds of interactions. Nick Jones also owns Babington House, the picturesque countryside estate where Harry and Meghan reportedly had several of their early private dates. Sources familiar with the situation say Marcus Anderson personally coordinated these meetings, handling all the logistics, managing privacy concerns, keeping everything completely confidential. That's not casual friend behavior. That's professional facilitation at the highest level. The meeting that started everything. Here's how Harry and Meghan actually met, according to details that have emerged from royal biographers and inside sources. The official blind date story that's been sold to the public, it doesn't add up when you examine it closely. According to royal biographer Katie Nicholl and other well-connected sources, Harry went directly to Marcus Anderson and specifically asked him to set up a private meeting with Meghan in an exclusive room at Soho House, London in July 2016. The meeting was perfectly orchestrated, just 7 or 8 carefully selected people present, giving Harry and Meghan the opportunity to talk without pressure, without crowds, without media attention. What most people don't mention when they retell this story is the crucial detail. Harry went to Marcus specifically to arrange this private introduction. Why was Marcus so central to making this happen? Because he had the connections, because he controlled the venues, because he possessed the ability to make things happen quietly, discreetly, without anyone outside that small circle ever knowing. And most importantly, because he already knew Meghan extremely well. Think about that dynamic carefully. Then Marcus stays actively involved throughout their entire relationship, arranging additional private dates at Babington House, providing exclusive spaces at various Soho House locations for them to meet without detection, acting as what people in these circles call Meghan's fixer. What exactly is a fixer? Someone who gets things done behind the scenes, someone who opens doors that remain permanently closed for everyone else, someone who solves problems before they become public, someone who makes the impossible suddenly possible. That was Marcus Anderson's role from the very beginning, from cable actress to royal circles. Here's the reality that nobody disputes. Meghan spent her Suits years as a working actress grinding away at her career. She wasn't famous in any meaningful global sense. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't connected to elite international circles. She had ambition, absolutely. She had drive. She had goals, but she didn't have access. Then she befriended Marcus Anderson, and suddenly, almost overnight, everything changed. Suddenly, she's traveling across Europe. Suddenly, she's attending exclusive parties in London, Paris, and beyond. Suddenly, she's meeting billionaire investors, fashion designers, tech entrepreneurs, members of aristocratic families. Suddenly, she's getting invited to events she never could have reached on her own merit or her Suits salary. A working cable television actress shouldn't have that kind of access. It doesn't make logical sense based on her career achievements or income level. So how did it happen? Marcus Anderson's entire career has been built on one core skill: connecting the right people, knowing who matters in which circles, making strategic introductions that benefit both parties. When Meghan entered his sphere of influence, she entered a global network that spans London, Toronto, Los Angeles, New York, Mumbai, and beyond. Everywhere she went, Marcus's network opened doors that would otherwise have remained locked. That's not friendship in the traditional sense. That's professional facilitation. That's strategic relationship management. And the question becomes unavoidable. What did Meghan provide in return for all that access? What did Marcus gain from investing so much time, energy, and social capital into elevating her profile? Look at Meghan's trajectory with clear eyes. Cable actress becomes Soho House regular through Marcus. Soho House regular meets Prince Harry through Marcus's facilitation. Meets Harry, dates Harry, marries into the British royal family. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That strategy executed almost perfectly with the guidance and support of someone who knew exactly how to make it happen. The man who never left. Fast forward to today, years after the royal wedding that captivated the world, years after the dramatic departure from royal life, years after establishing a new existence in California, Marcus Anderson is still present, still appearing in photographs, still maintaining his position in Meghan's world. At the 2018 royal wedding at Windsor Castle, at the 2019 New York baby shower that cost an estimated $500,000, at Paris Fashion Week in October 2025, holding hands in public, at Disneyland in June 2025 for a family birthday celebration. He's described by sources close to the Sussexes as the second most important man in Meghan's life, second only to Harry, ahead of her own father, ahead of her own family members. Think about that phrasing for a moment. Really let it sink in. A man from Soho House, someone who facilitated her access to elite networks, is considered the second most important man in her entire life. Sources close to the Sussexes claim Marcus is uncomfortable in the spotlight. That's supposedly why he wasn't featured in the Netflix documentary about Harry and Meghan's life. That's supposedly why Meghan covered his face with an emoji in the Disneyland photos. But here's the question that explanation raises. If this was truly an innocent, platonic friendship with nothing questionable about it, why hide it? Why cover his face? Why keep him out of documentaries? Why not just openly say, "This is my good friend Marcus. We've known each other for years. He's been incredibly supportive." Why the secrecy? Why the concealment? Why the careful management of his public visibility? The secrecy itself fuels suspicion. The constant presence despite the attempted concealment raises questions.
And then I said, okay, I've always loved being able to share. I've always loved.
And the photographs tell a story that Meghan cannot control no matter how carefully she manages her public image. Look at Harry's body language and facial expressions in photographs when Marcus is present. September 2017. Invictus Games. Harry looks genuinely uncomfortable, even unhappy, while Meghan gazes at Marcus with obvious affection and admiration. Sources who were present at various events say there was noticeable tension. Harry allegedly didn't fully understand why Marcus was always present. He reportedly questioned why Meghan seemed to rely so heavily on Marcus's presence at family events, at public appearances, at moments that should have been private between husband and wife. But what could Harry actually say? Marcus introduced them. Marcus facilitated the entire early stage of their relationship. Marcus has been part of Meghan's life longer than Harry has been. Objecting to Marcus would mean questioning the very foundation of how they even met. Harry is trapped in an impossible position. If he pushes back against Marcus's presence, he's challenging Meghan's closest friendship and potentially creating conflict in his marriage. If he accepts Marcus's continued involvement, he's accepting another man having unprecedented access to his wife and family. Remember what Harry sacrificed. He left his entire family for Meghan. He created a rift with his brother William that may never heal. He damaged his relationship with his father, King Charles. He abandoned his military roles and royal duties. He left behind the only life he'd ever known. If serious doubts are now creeping in about Meghan's connections, about her loyalties, about what her true priorities actually are, what does that mean for everything he sacrificed? What does that mean for the choices he can never undo? The network that changed everything. Let's connect the specific dots about what Soho House access actually gave Meghan. This wasn't just about attending trendy parties or being seen at fashionable venues. This was about systematic access to networks of wealthy, powerful, and connected people who could fundamentally transform her life trajectory. Ron Burkle, billionaire investor heavily involved with Soho House financial backing. Someone Meghan would have encountered through that exact network. Misha Nonu, fashion designer and prominent Soho House regular who became extremely close to Meghan and has been credited by some sources as also playing a role in the Harry introduction. Jessica Mulroney, high-profile Canadian stylist, connected to the elite Toronto social scene and the Toronto Soho House crowd. Serena Williams, Soho House member, who became one of Meghan's most high-profile celebrity friendships. Marcus Anderson's network connected her to all of these influential people. All of them helped Meghan transition from being a working television actress to being someone who could credibly step into royal circles without seeming completely out of place. That's the genuine value Marcus Anderson provided. Not just friendship, not just emotional support, but access, strategic networks, and carefully curated opportunities that most people could never obtain regardless of talent or ambition. Meghan used that access brilliantly and strategically. But what did it cost? What did she provide in return? Because people like Marcus Anderson don't invest that extraordinary level of time, energy, and social capital without receiving something of value. The photos that won't go away. These photographs going viral again in late 2025 and early 2026 matter enormously because they demonstrate something undeniable. The relationship never ended. Years after the wedding, years after leaving royal life and moving to California, years after building a supposedly new existence independent of those British connections, Marcus Anderson remains the constant presence, raising fundamental questions about loyalty, about who Meghan is genuinely connected to, about whether the royal marriage was actually her ultimate goal or merely a strategic step in a much larger plan. Think about this progression carefully. Meghan accessed the royal family specifically through Marcus Anderson's Soho House network. She used that platform to build global fame and recognition. Then she left royal life, but she kept both the fame and Marcus firmly by her side. What does that tell you about actual priorities? What does that reveal about what truly mattered all along? It strongly suggests that Marcus Anderson's network was always more important than the royal family itself. The Soho House connections were the real prize. Harry was the vehicle to get there, to achieve global fame and establish a platform that could be monetized after leaving royal constraints. And now, Meghan is building her California-based media and lifestyle empire, with Marcus still playing essentially the same role he played in Toronto over a decade ago. Nick Jonas attended Harry and Meghan's wedding at Windsor Castle, but he has remained completely silent publicly about Meghan's years embedded in Soho House culture. He's never revealed what happened in those private rooms. He's never discussed the connections that were facilitated. He's never confirmed or denied what arrangements Marcus Anderson made on Meghan's behalf. But his silence speaks volumes. Nick Jonas knows everything. He knows who attended which parties. He knows what arrangements Marcus made. He knows exactly how Meghan went from being Marcus's guest to becoming a duchess, using his exclusive venues as the launchpad. Jonas protects his brand above all else. Soho House sells discretion and absolute privacy to its powerful members. If he revealed specific details about Meghan's time in his clubs, about the networking that occurred, about the introductions that were facilitated, the foundational trust in Soho House would instantly vanish. So he stays quiet. He maintains the friendship. He attends weddings when invited. He protects his business model. And the key players, Marcus Anderson, Meghan Markle, Nick Jonas, all know exactly what happened. But none of them are talking. Talking would mean revealing how a cable television actress strategically used exclusive club access to network her way into elite circles and ultimately into the British royal family. This isn't a fairy tale romance. This is calculated ambition executed through strategic relationships with powerful men who controlled access to rooms where life-changing connections happen. The photographs tell that story whether Meghan wants them to or not. Meghan with Marcus in 2014, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2025. An entire decade by his side. An entire decade of him systematically opening doors. That's not random. That's not coincidence. That's not just friendship. That's a strategic partnership that fundamentally changed Meghan's life and continues to define her world years later. The questions that demand answers. Here's what nobody has satisfactorily explained yet. Why is Marcus Anderson still so deeply involved in Meghan's life, so many years after introducing her to Harry? What role is he actually playing today? He's not her employee. He's not her official manager. He's not publicly listed as her business partner, yet he appears at family vacations. He holds hands with her at Paris Fashion Week. He's always present, always visible, when you know what to look for. He's described as the second most important man in her life. What kind of relationship maintains that level of involvement across continents, across years, through massive life changes including a royal wedding, 2 children, and a complete geographical relocation? Normal friendships don't work that way. Normal friendships don't maintain that intensity of connection across such dramatic life transitions. The only explanation that makes logical sense is this: Marcus Anderson knows things. He possesses information. He maintains power over Meghan's narrative because he was there for all of it. The Toronto years, the Soho House parties, the networking with wealthy, powerful men, the strategic positioning that led to Harry. Marcus was there. He knows the truth, which makes him insurance. He's the keeper of secrets. He's the person who can confirm or deny what really happened during those crucial years before Harry entered the picture. Meghan keeps him close because letting him drift away could mean losing control of that narrative. It could mean someone with direct knowledge speaking publicly about what actually occurred. It could mean the carefully constructed story unraveling. These photographs keep going viral because the relationship genuinely doesn't make sense to people's instincts. The official explanation doesn't match the visual evidence. The behavior doesn't align with normal friendship patterns. If Marcus is just a friend, why the hand-holding? Why the constant physical proximity? Why family events with young children? Why cover his face in photographs if everything is completely innocent? Why the secrecy? Why the careful management of his public visibility? Why not just openly acknowledge him as a close friend? The more Meghan tries to keep Marcus in the shadows while simultaneously keeping him in her life, the more suspicious it appears. The more questions multiply. And Nick Jones knows the answers. Marcus Anderson knows the answers. Meghan Markle knows the answers. But none of them are talking, because talking would mean revealing the truth about how a struggling actress used exclusive club access to network her way into elite circles and ultimately into the royal family. The photographs exist, the timeline is documented, the access is undeniable, and the relationship continues, years after any reasonable person would expect it to have naturally faded. That's the truth these photos reveal. Meghan's meteoric rise, her fame, her current empire didn't happen by accident. It didn't happen through talent alone. It didn't happen because of a lucky blind date. Marcus Anderson's fingerprints are all over every stage of that journey. From Toronto Soho House regular, to British Royal Duchess, to California media personality. Marcus was there facilitating every crucial transition. And he's still there today. Why? What do you think? Does this relationship make sense to you? Does the official story match the evidence we can all see? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this investigation made you see things differently, hit subscribe and stay locked in for more deep dives that uncover what's really happening behind the carefully managed public images. Don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to see the truth about what these photographs actually reveal. The evidence is right there in front of us. The question is whether we're willing to see it.